Hello everybody and welcome to the final part of the countdown from 50 to 1 of your viewers' top 100 PS1 games. Thank you to everyone that voted. Let's get onward with the count. Number 50. Tenshu, Stealth Assassins. That's overdue a comeback, surely, isn't it? Being all ninja-y. I remember the PS2 ones being particularly good fun to play with. I didn't have too much fun with the original ones, unfortunately myself. Number 49, Grand Theft Auto. Only 49. None of the other Grand Theft Auto games actually got a vote at all. So, firmly must be one of those games that as soon as it transformed to 3D, everyone then decided to orgasm over. 48, Kudelka for the PS1. Prelude to the Shadow Hearts games. Now I loved the FMV and I loved the music to this. I really found the battling sequence of positioning yourself around to be really difficult to get into. 47, Parappa the Rapper, way! Love this game. No one voted apart from me for Jammalami, so that didn't actually make the top 100. So that's a shame, but Parappa represents all the dodgy rhythm games. 46, Breath of Fire 3. Breath of Fire series kind of dropped off the radar a little bit, but 3 and 4 I think were particularly well received on the PS1, and loving the detail in the artwork there. 45, Worms. Now I think this is a little bit rosy tinted because I think the original Worms has since been so triumphantly trumped by Armageddon, yet Armageddon, although it did receive votes, didn't get nearly as high up the list. So misty-eyed there I think from everyone. 44, Siphon Filter. Great series for the PS1, excellent trilogy, all of them are great games to play, yet everyone only really seemed to vote for this one. So once again I think the whole series deserves mentioning. X-Men Mutant Academy 2 at 43. I've not played this one, but it does look like a juicy beat-em-up. But I'm very wary with games that have tie-ins for things like that. 42, Devil Dice. Now, only me and another person voted for this, but we've both voted for it very highly. Fantastic puzzle game. Bombastic for PS2 is a great extension off of this as well. So if you like your puzzle games, I recommend that one so much. 41, Sukoden. Both Sukoden games charted quite highly. But so rare, so rare. Amazon got it for like £130. I'm not paying that much, sorry. 40, Destruction Derby 2. Now, I did love the Destruction Derby games. I agree, the second one is definitely the best of the three, I feel, because it's the one where everything is just, the car's so perfectly in tune, and you can go and crash quite happily. 39, Final Fantasy Tactics, a travesty this didn't make it to the European shores, although I have played it and thoroughly enjoyed what I've had of a sample of it so far. Yeah, can't speak highly about that one until I've played all the way through it. 38, Crash Team Racing, Sony's answer to Mario Kart. This one, along with Speed Freaks and the Muppet Race Mania, were my 3 top kart racing games for the PS1. Loved them. 37, WWF SmackDown, the original. The second one did get some votes, but just didn't quite make it quite as high up the list. That spawned a whole genre of itself, really, of wrestling race fighting games, so that's great. Croc in at 36. The original quite triumphantly higher up the order than the sequel, and I found that to be quite a pattern throughout everything. Everyone seems to remember the originals and vote for them as opposed to the sequels. 35, Buster Groove. Loved this game. I'm such a Simon Says gamer with all of these pressing the buttons at the right time. Great. Kitty N song, so annoyingly you can't get it out of your head. 34, Soul Reaver. I remember everyone going nuts over this because after the original loading of the game there was no loading for the rest of it because it seamlessly built the world around you. Great atmosphere. I have 2 thumbs up for that one. Hogs of War in at 33. Quite scarily, the first couple of people's results that came in, Hogs of War was actually was running top spot for this poll at one point. Great voice by Rick Mail as well for that game. 32, Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Good old 2D action. A couple of 2D games highly represented on this list. And Castlevania recently returning to our consoles to a very warm reception. 31 Parasite Eve. The original never came to the European shores, so I've never played it. But if a lot of people have said that they prefer it over the original, the sequel, but the sequel's actually higher up the list, so sorry peeps. 30 Driver, another series that's just recently popped back. I have to say, loved the original, did love the sequel Driver 2 actually on the PS1. Do you remember the little camera editing mode so you could make it all look like a TV show? Great. 29 Final Fantasy VI. I debated actually whether or not to even let this vote stand. Everyone that voted for this put this as their best game on their list, so that's why it's up so highly with very few votes. 28 Resident Evil Nemesis, number 3. All 3 Resident Evil games charted, and this was the lower of the 3. Yet I remember getting quite a lot of 10 out of 10s from various magazines at the time. Spyro 2 in at 27. Remember, Spyro 3 was right down the thick end of the hundreds of the charts. All 3 Spyro games deserve everyone's attention. They deserve a HD remake, don't they? Why do HD remakes only go for PS2 games? Oddworld Odyssey, Abe's Odyssey in at 26. Now, Abe's Exodus did receive votes, but it didn't even make the top 100 because it was kind of like a 1.5, not really a fully fledged sequel, but fantastic game, great 2D dynamics. The original Gran Turismo in at 25. Now, this is one of the few where the sequel is actually higher up the list than the original. Those graphics still hold up really well today. Shocking, really. 24, the original Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Again, just showing exactly how much that brought to the extreme sports genre. 23, Broken Sword, Shadow of the Templars. I must go and get the director's cut version so that you can get Nico's little extra bits. Fantastic story. My only negative about that is the sound quality of the voices, and the music is so heavily compressed, it's like all the way through. 22, Wipeout 2097. Yeah, I agree with this one. This is top-notch game. With the third Wipeout as well, I really enjoyed that one, but 2097 really did hit the mark. Fantastic soundtrack as well. Tomb Raider 2, starring Lara Croft, in at 21, with the Dagger of Zion, and I remember going around on that boat for a very long time and crashing it at all costs. I voted for this one very high up my list. Formula 1 97, for my opinion, my favourite racer on the PlayStation 1. Thoroughly loved it, with the extra tracks as well, where you can reverse them and stuff. Great fun. Parasite Eve II in at 19. I don't know, maybe slightly overrated for my opinion. I enjoyed it, I just didn't love it when I played that one. Did love Grandia though, in at 18. Ultra cute. Some of the sequels of the Grandia series haven't quite lived up to the original for myself, but yeah, timeless classic, so cute. So many different endings you can get as well, good fun. Sokoden 2 in at 17. I've never played it, but it's on my wish list, and again it's another one of these games that retails out because everyone knows it's rare, in the PAL territory at least anyway, for stupid money. Not good. Tomb Raider in at 16. I remember renting this game out. Remember when you used to rent games? God, I just remember the atmosphere that you got the first time you came across a dinosaur. Tekken 2, my favourite fighting game of the PlayStation 1 era. I just felt that Tekken 2 was much more fluid than 1 and 3, and I just thoroughly enjoyed it. And Jin was my favourite character in the whole series, and the fact that she's not really been back apart from the tag tournament since is unfortunate. Tekken 3 though charted in at 14, strangely. Tekken 2 had more higher votes than Tekken 3. Tekken 3 just had a lot of votes, with people putting it towards the bottom end of their 20. Vagrant Story in at 13. I really struggled to like this game when I played it, and I need to go back and really play it all the way through because I just found it really, really clunky. But enough if you like it, so it's in at 13. Number 12, Crash 2, Cortex Strikes Back. Crash games, great fun. The 2.5D works very well once you get used to the whole where am I jumping, am I going into a hole. Gran Turismo 2 in at 11, one of the few that's actually got its sequel higher than its original. And even looking at that graphic, some PC games struggle to make that these days. Fantastic technical achievement there. Into the top 10 then, Resident Evil 1 in at number 10. And that's just recently been re-released with a director's cut, hasn't it, on the PlayStation Network. So if you've not played it before, that is a definitive version to get. Number 9, the original Crash Bandicoot. This had the most stupidest save game feature ever. And as a result, I used to get really frustrated with it and just get annoyed. So, yeah, I think a little bit misty there because the others are much better. Number 8, Bishi Bashi Special. See, now this is why they should have put Super Businessman should have come across as well, because it's very similar to this. Absolutely balls, nuts, crazy. You cannot get better free-player action with that. Number 7, Silent Hill. A lot of people still love the original. The graphics are so grim, and I remember watching the trailer with Akira Yamaoka's music on, and takes me back, that does. Number 6, Spyro, the original. Again, can't knock the fact that everyone's loving Spyro, and all 3 games. Insomniac have produced some great platforms over the years, so that's just testimony to that. Number 5, Final Fantasy VIII. Yes, my least favourite Final Fantasy of the 3 main ones that came out in the PS1 era. But those FMV sequences are to die for, I love them. Number 4, Resident Evil 2. Everyone loves their zombies, it seems. All the Resident Evil games chimed very highly, and yeah, maybe clunky. The control system's really out of date now, but everyone still loves it. Final Fantasy VII in at number 3, the game everyone loves now to hate after spending so much time loving it. And I think probably in another 5 or 10 years it will go full circle once that remake eventually comes out, should it ever do so. Final Fantasy IX in at number 2. Now this was my top game. And incidentally, it actually received the most top votes, so therefore getting 20 points each out of any game on the list. But it just didn't get nearly enough votes for number 1, which was Metal Gear Solid. So Hideo Kojima's masterpiece got the top votes. It had by far the most votes across the board from everyone that voted, like as in the amount of people that voted, let alone people ranking it on top of their list. So, thank you very much to everyone that contributed to this vote. Been an absolute pleasure receiving everyone's little comments. I'll probably look at doing a PS2 vote next year, and then maybe come back to PS1 the year afterwards, and if we've got some new different readers and viewers, we might have a different result. Thanks for watching.